video about my BMW 320d. It was 2008 model, and I bought it in a bit of an emergency situation. I had a Golf R. I had a 2017 Golf R, and it was shit off a shovel. And it was a great car. I loved it. I was a year into the finance, and then in early 2018 I changed my job. I was a contractor, and then I changed to permanent employee, and I got a big tax bill at the same time, so I thought I needed to sell the Golf, and the sale price could cover the finance, so I could get rid of it and buy something else. So thinking I would spend a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, a month with it on sale to get a good price, I put it on Auto Trader one Friday night about 11 o'clock. 8 o'clock the next morning the phone started ringing. It didn't stop. By 1 o'clock 2 fairly shady characters had turned up and bought it from me. 25 grand there and then, paid off the finance. Suddenly I had no car. I've got a motorbike, but I had no car, and I needed a car. So in a bit of a panic and with no cash, because I hadn't really thought about, you know, getting some cash together, I had a look at the Auto Trader locally. I needed something quick, and I found this BMW 320d from a dealer quite close by. It's for sale for £3,000. So I went to have a look at it, and he'd only just received it. He sold higher end vehicles, Land Rovers mainly, and he'd got this as trade-in, and he just wanted to get rid of it. It was there's a couple of dings on it which I'll show you later. It's got a spectacular 200,000, actually had 198,000 miles on the clock. It's now got 204,380 miles, and it had full service history and only 2 owners, and that's what swung it. I offered him 2.5 and we settled on 2,650, so I drove it away. That was in May last year, so that's what, 8 months. I've done I've done 6,000 miles in the car, and it's been incredible. It's a really cool car. It's tough like a tank. It's unbelievably tough. I've serviced it once. It drives well. It does feel like a tank after I've been in a smaller and nicer car, but it drives really well. I've been really impressed with it. On a long journey it's comfortable. On a race back from going to see a friend of mine in the hospital, about 20 miles of back roads, it's incredible good fun. It's obviously rear wheel drive, so BMW. It's got a 6-speed manual gearbox, and which is pretty slick. First gear you have to be patient with, at traffic lights. I thought for months that the clutch was on its way out. First gear, traffic lights, you're in neutral, the light changes to green, and you put it in first gear, and sometimes it would take a couple of goes. What I've now realised is you've just got to be patient. What I mean is, take your time, put it in gear, don't put it in gear hurriedly, or it won't go in. If you just place it in first gear, it's fine every single time. The diesel particulate filter, I had a real issue with that. In fact, I wanted to sell the car, I wanted to scrap the car, I wanted to burn the car. I hated the car because this diesel particulate filter light came on, so I researched it. Oh my god, it's expensive. To get a new one, it was like £1,500. Luckily, I have a friend called Scotty, and I asked him if he could look into it for me, and he found a company online in Slough who clean them. So he turned up at my house one day, jacked the car up. He actually physically took the diesel particulate filter out. It's about the size of an exhaust silencer. It was clogged up, absolutely clogged up with soot. He took that to Maidenhead. It cost, I think, £100 to Slough, not Maidenhead, and he put it back on the car. And it was a different car. When the light had come on, it went into limp home mode a couple of times, and it just wouldn't regenerate. And it wouldn't regenerate because it was so packed solid with soot. So the lesson learned is, if you are going to use the car for short journeys, make sure every now and again you take it for a long motorway run to allow it to clear out the DPF. Now it's fixed, I think differently about the car. I don't want to kill it, I don't want to burn it. It's okay. That issue has gone away, and I'm quite happy with the car now. In fact, I love it. I probably am going to sell it at some point because I'd prefer something a bit faster. I'd like another BMW 3 Series, another E90, but 330 injection petrol or diesel. I'm not fussed really. But it's been a fun car. It does 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, just under 8 seconds. You can overtake, and it does overtake, and I do overtake regularly. It's really good fun to drive it quickly, and you can have a good time driving this car. It's not a sports car, but it's a sports saloon, and that's good enough really. So here's the car on the outside. The wheels are pretty dinged. When I bought it, people were asking me if I knew that the wheels were not in the greatest condition. Yeah, I did. You know, it's reflected in the price. It was a fairly cheap car. It's got a couple of other things as well. This Kez. Say hi, Kez. You know, it's got a little scratch here and a little one here, but nothing too bad. The paintwork is probably duller than when I first bought it, but I think it looks pretty good, the E90. Not long after I had it, I drove it at night and I couldn't see anything. The headlights were all over the place. They were pointing at the floor in front of the car. So, my expert friend who I mentioned earlier, Scotty, I asked him to take a look at it, and essentially in the headlights themselves, the bulbs here, the mechanism that controls the level was snapped on both sides. It was broken and there was no way to fix it. We had to get a new headlight unit, except he had the genius idea of drilling a hole in the top of the light, and we fixed it with super glue, which was not quite super glue. It was more expensive than that, a better glue than that, but it was a good fix. It was a good fix. The car had good tyres on it as well. It's got Continental tyres on it, and that was another reason for me to buy it. Right, so have a look inside. I'm going to let Kez out. It's the back first. The back seat is her domain. The sheet is from a caravan we had 20 years ago. Come on in. I should have an estate really, shouldn't I? I do clean it every now and again, but not that often. The front's more important. So when I got it, it came with just the business CD player and the radio, and that wasn't good enough for me. So there's an auxiliary under the armrest input, an auxiliary input in there. And what I've done is I've got a power supply from here. The auxiliary is there. That there is a Bluetooth setup. So when I get in the car, the wires are pretty much hidden away, and my phone just connects to the stereo. It's great. It works incredibly. I've also tidied up the sat-nav. When you turn the ignition on, sat-nav comes on, and it works perfectly. So I've got Bluetooth and I've got a sat-nav in a car that cost me £2,500. It's got electric windows all round. It doesn't have leather seats, but to be honest, they're a bit filthy, aren't they? Could do with a clean. They actually had a clean last week. They could do with a deep clean. They were like that when I got it. But again, £2,500. You could pay £4,000 for one of these easily for 2008. I'm not sure whether I prefer these seats over the leather seats, but they do have advantages. These, they are more difficult to keep clean, but they hold you more firmly. It doesn't have heated seats, this. I do miss heated seats, but it doesn't get cold like leather does. Got cruise control. Doesn't have automatic wipers, it doesn't have automatic lights, but it does have cruise control, which is here. It does about 50 to the gallon. I reckon I get 600 miles out of the tank. So that is my 320D. I like it a lot. Do you like it, Kez? She likes it as well.